The Young and the Restless Spoilers. Title: A Game of Shadows, The Unmasking of Jack and Diane. The air in Genoa City was thick with whispers and intrigue. Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins, once the picture-perfect couple, had been loudly proclaiming their breakup for weeks. Everyone bought into the dramatic narrative of their split, everyone except Victor Newman. Victor, a man who had built an empire with little tolerance for deception, knew better than to take things at face value. His instincts were razor-sharp, honed by years of maneuvering through corporate traps and personal vendettas. Watching Jack and Diane flaunt their supposed separation was, to him, akin to watching children play dress-up. Victor knew better, and he was determined to expose the truth behind the smoke and mirrors. Jack, cunning as ever, had orchestrated the entire act with one goal in mind: positioning Diane as his spy within Newman Enterprises. He needed her inside Victor's fortress, feeding him privileged information to stay one step ahead. But to make it believable, Jack had staged a public scene that would erase any doubts about their split. He had slapped Diane in front of a shocked crowd, his voice dripping with bitterness as he announced their breakup. The onlookers were stunned, murmuring among themselves as Diane stormed out, eyes glistening with feigned rage. To everyone else, it was heartbreak in real time. But to Victor, it was just the beginning of another Abbott charade. Victor's skepticism ran deeper than Jack or Diane anticipated. Determined to unearth the truth, he deployed one of his most trusted private investigators, instructing him to keep a close eye on Diane. Days later, Victor sat in his office, going through a thick file of photographs and reports detailing Diane's every move. As he turned each page, his suspicion hardened into certainty. The images were damning: Diane slipping back to the Abbott mansion under the cover of darkness, where she and Jack would reunite in secret. A particular photo showed them in a passionate embrace, one that betrayed any pretense of animosity between them. Victor clenched his jaw as he stared at the final image: Diane leaving the mansion just before dawn, her face soft and content. It was all the proof he needed. "They're playing me for a fool," he muttered, his voice a low growl. But if they thought they could deceive him, they were sorely mistaken. Victor wasn't just a man with a keen eye, he was a strategist who had built his life on beating opponents at their own game. And he was about to turn the tables on Jack and Diane. The next day, Diane arrived at Newman Enterprises as if nothing had happened, her demeanor poised and professional. She was ready to continue her subtle espionage, gathering bits of critical information to relay back to Jack. But as she stepped into the office, she was met with Victor himself, standing with an air of authority that made the entire room feel smaller. "Diane," he said, his tone as smooth as it was menacing. "You won't be needing your access badge today. Or ever again." Her confident smile faltered, and for a split second, panic flashed in her eyes. But she quickly composed herself, attempting a mask of innocence. "Victor, I don't understand. Is there a problem?" "Oh, there's no misunderstanding here," Victor replied, his voice dripping with contempt. "You and Jack thought you could waltz into my company, dig around in my affairs, and I just stand by and watch? Did you really think I wouldn't see right through this little performance of yours?" Diane's composure wavered. "Victor, you're overthinking this. Jack and I, we're no longer together. You saw it yourself." Victor's cold laugh echoed through the office. "Oh, I saw it all right. Quite the performance, really. But tell me this, Diane, do you often accidentally end up back at the Abbott mansion, in Jack's arms, hours after your so-called breakup?" The color drained from Diane's face. She opened her mouth to respond, but Victor cut her off with a wave of his hand. "Save it. I don't have time for games. Your services are no longer required here. Leave. Now." Defeated, Diane left Newman Enterprises, her mind racing. She had underestimated Victor's intuition, and now, Jack's carefully laid plans were unraveling. The information pipeline she was meant to establish had been severed, and their scheme lay in ruins before it could truly begin. But Victor wasn't finished yet. There was another factor to consider: Kyle Abbott, Jack's son. Though young, Kyle was ambitious and, in Victor's eyes, just as dangerous as his father. With Jack's plan exposed, Victor couldn't ignore the possibility that Kyle might attempt to carry on his father's legacy of manipulation and deceit. Victor had encountered plenty of heirs eager to follow in their parents' footsteps, and he knew that Kyle might already be plotting a way to retaliate.